Hello everyone and welcome back to Rare Decoded. In today's video, we will be talking about 5 most expensive watches in the world and who owns them. Well, I'm much more interested in the who owns it part of it. Which one do you think is the most expensive watch in the world? You might think it belongs to a billionaire, a famous actor, or a royal family member, but the answer is actually a little bit more complicated. Some of the world's most famous watches have been owned by famous people, which is very easy to find on the internet, but a lot of them belong to private collectors whose names have never been revealed. And some of the most expensive watches in the world may not even have a private owner at all. Isn't that interesting? So today, we're counting down top 5 of the most expensive watches ever made or sold. We're talking about watches worth millions of dollars, watches connected to famous people, royal history, record-breaking auctions, and some of the rarest diamonds in the world. So stay tuned till the end. Number 1 is the Graf hallucination, which is priced at, hold your breath, $55 million. This is the most expensive watch on the list, and it looks more like a piece of high-end jewelry than a traditional watch. It was created by a British jeweler, Lawrence Graf, and he introduced the watch in 2014. The watch contains more than 110 carats of extremely rare colored diamonds. Blue, pink, yellow, green, and orange diamonds are used in this watch. These colors are especially valued because natural colored diamonds are much rarer than the ordinary white diamonds. Graf spent years collecting the stones that are used for this piece. They were then carefully arranged across the bracelet. The actual watch face is surprisingly small. It almost disappears between the diamonds. The total value of hallucination is around $55 million, which apparently makes it the most expensive watch ever created. But here's the interesting question: who owns it? There hasn't been a publicly announced private buyer. The watch still remains associated with Graf and the company that actually created it. And it is believed that this is the actual reason of the watch's existence. The hallucination is not only designed like a normal watch that somebody could wear every day. It's a showcase of what can be done with extremely rare diamonds and high jewelry craftsmanship. It is also a way of Graf to demonstrate its position in luxury jewelry industry. That's the reason why hallucination is so different from the other watches like Paul Newman's Rolex. Newman's Rolex, his Daytona, became incredibly valuable because of its history and the person who wrote it. But on the other hand, the hallucination gets its value from the material, the craftsmanship, and the incredible rarity of the diamonds. On number 2 is the famous Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime, which is worth $31 million. In 2019, Patek Philippe created a unique version of its Grandmaster Chime for the only watch charity auction. The Grandmaster Chime is already one of the most complicated watches Patek Philippe has ever produced. This watch has 20 different complications. It means it can do much more than just simply tell the time. It has several chiming functions, multiple displays, and 2 separate dials. The case can also be turned around so the person wearing it can choose the side which they want to display. And this particular version was made from stainless steel. I know it just doesn't sound very impressive compared to gold or platinum, but that's what exactly makes this watch unusual. Patek Philippe rarely makes its most complicated watches in stainless steel, and this particular Grandmaster Chime was unique. Why? Because there was only one at the only watch auction. Bidding started, and very quickly it passed $10 million, $20 million, and the room was full of people watching the number continue to rise. Eventually, the final price has reached around $31 million. It became the most expensive wristwatch ever sold at an auction, and once again, the identity of the buyer was not publicly revealed. All what is known is that the watch went to a private collector. So now, we have another watch in the list of worth of tens of millions of dollars sitting somewhere in somebody's private collection. On number 3, we have the Marie Antoinette Breguet, which is priced around $30 million. Now, we go back much further in history to 1783. This is a story of one of the most famous watches ever made, known as the Marie Antoinette, created by the legendary watchmaker Abraham Louis Breguet. This story begins with a mysterious customer. Abraham could make the watch as complicated as he wanted, but the problem was that the making of the watch took years to complete. Then, the French Revolution changed everything. Marie Antoinette was executed in 1793, but the watch was still not finished. Breguet continued to work on it. After his death, his son continued the project. Eventually, the watch was completed in 1827. That was 44 years after it had been originally ordered, and Marie Antoinette had been dead for decades. So she never saw the finished watch, she never wore it, and she never even knew what the final version of the watch looked like. The watch later became a part of a museum collection in Jerusalem, but the story does not end here. In 1983, the museum was robbed. A thief named Nyman Diller broke into the museum and stole a large number of valuable clocks and watches, and amongst them, it was the Marie Antoinette's watch as well. For years, nobody had an idea where the watch was. There were fears that it might have been destroyed, sold privately, or probably has been taken apart. But then, 20 years later, the story took another turn. After Diller had died, his widow wife contacted the authorities. The watch had been kept in the boxes for years. Eventually, it was recovered, and today, the Marie Antoinette Breguet watch is back in the museum, and its value has been estimated to $30 million. Unlike many of the watches on this list, it is not owned by a billionaire or a celebrity. It belongs to a museum collection, so people can actually see the watch that was originally made for a queen who never lived long enough to even wear it. On number 4 is Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona, which is priced at $17.8 million. This is one of the most famous Rolex watches in the world. This has a very interesting history. It belonged to an actor and racing driver, Paul Newman. During the 1960s, Newman became very interested in motorsports and eventually became a serious racing driver. His wife, Joanne Woodward, was worried about him racing, so she gave him a Rolex Daytona, which also has a personal message engraved at the back of the watch, which reads, "Drive carefully, .me." Newman wore the watch for years, and it was not just kept in the safe. He used to wear it working, racing, and going out about his normal life. Then something unexpected happened. In 1984, Newman was at his home with James Cox, who was apparently dating his daughter at that time. Cox was helping him build a treehouse. At some point, Newman casually asked Cox what the time was, and he did not have a watch. So Newman simply took his watch, Rolex Daytona, off of his wrist and gave it to him. That's it. No special ceremony of giving the watch away. It was just the watch being given to someone special he knew. Cox kept the watch for more than 30 years, and then in 2017, it was put up for auction in New York. At that point, everyone already knew the watch was special since it belonged to Paul Newman. It had the famous engraving from his wife, and it had been worn by him for many years. But the final price of the watch was still surprising, and the watch sold for approximately $17.8 million. That made it one of the most expensive watches ever sold in an auction. And another interesting fact of the story is that the person who bought the watch remained anonymous. The buyer participated into the auction through phone bidder and never publicly revealed his identity. So today, one of the most expensive Rolex watches that has ever been made belongs to a private collector somewhere in the world. And this watch shows something important about luxury watches. The watch itself wasn't covered in diamonds, it was the value of its history. A watch that was simply a personal gift that became a multi-million-dollar piece of history. So let's get started, and on number 5 we have Jacob & Company Billionaire Watch, which is worth $18 million. In 2018, Floyd Mayweather was seen wearing a watch that was almost impossible to miss. It's called the Billionaire Watch, made by Jacob & Company. And almost unlikely other luxury watches, this one is covered almost completely in diamonds. The watch contains around 260 carats of emerald-cut diamonds. The diamonds both cover the bracelet and the base, giving the watch a very different look from something like a traditional Rolex or Patek Philippe. Mayweather claims to pay around $18 million for the watch, but for him, the watch fits perfectly with his public image. He has always been known for his expensive cars, jewelry, private jets, and luxury lifestyle. Even he's been given a nickname of Money. So the Billionaire Watch is almost like an extension of his image. But there is something very interesting about the watch that you cannot see immediately. Underneath all those diamonds is a serious mechanical movement. It uses tourbillon, one of the more complicated features in traditional mechanical watchmaking. The idea is that even the diamonds get most of the attention. Jacob & Company did not simply put a basic movement inside an expensive piece of jewelry. There is real watchmaking underneath. And that's something you will notice with many watches at this level, that the price is not always just about what you can see. Sometimes a huge amount of value is hidden inside the watch. So that's number 5, around $18 million. But the most interesting thing about all these watches is not always its price. It's the story behind them. Paul Newman's Rolex started as a gift from his wife. The Marie Antoinette completed decades after the Queen had actually died. The Patek Philippe became the auction record. The Graf Hallucination turned more than 110 carats of rare colored diamond into a watch worth tens of millions of dollars. At this level of luxury, you are not simply paying for something that just tells you the time. You are paying for the craftsmanship, for the rarity, and sometimes the names associated to them. And that's what makes these watches so fascinating, because when a watch reaches $10 million, $20 million, or even $50 million, the question is not really what does it do? The question is, why is this watch worth these millions? And the usual answer is much more interesting than the time displayed on the dial. So let me know what you think about this video, and if you like it, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.